All right, so shoulders range. Shoulders range is my second flexibility book. And when I was writing my first flexibility book, it was like in the back of my mind, this idea that this can't be the only book I write. And why is that? Because, it was an idea that, split second is about lower body flexibility, but you have an upper body. You don't have all your legs. You have your shoulders, you have your pecs, you have your lats, you have a whole upper body to stretch. And the upper body is even more used than the lower body in certain disciplines. Think about gymnastics, think about calisthenics, think about bodyweight training, think about CrossFit, think about going to the gym. Like, man, only do the upper body because you gotta be a man, right? So it's kind of really useful to have a playbook to stretch your upper body as well. And with shoulders range, I used a more general approach because the shoulder is such a complicated joint. If you want to learn the splits, you gotta understand a few concepts and you are there. But with the upper body, the shoulder is the most flexible joint in our body. It can move in every direction. You can do every kind of movement with your shoulder, almost 360 degrees of movement. So, it's kind of difficult to explain and to learn a methodology about shoulders flexibility. So I started with the movements of the shoulder. So your shoulder can move in flexion, it can move in extension, it can move in abduction, in adduction, etc. So all different movements, all right? And we got to understand also the muscles that move the shoulder. You got a rotator cuff, you got a bicep, you got a pec, you got a lat. But my approach is, okay, you got to understand this in order to understand this. No bullshit in here, not too much scientific language, because flexibility is a practical thing. If you want to improve your flexibility, you gotta stretch, you gotta go to the gym, you want to hit the workout. If you want to improve the flexibility of your clients, you gotta make them stretch. All right, so you gotta do this, you gotta do this, you gotta do this exercise. So I started from the concept just to give people a general idea of the topic, and then from there I explored different exercises. So the first part is the general part where people understand the stretches for the rotator cuff, for the shoulder, for the legs, for the pecs, which are not really specific for any kind of movement. But one day I was at lunch with one of my friends who's a CrossFit practitioner, and I asked him, so I got this section right, I got this book right here, which I'm writing, and it will be talking about the shoulders flexibility, and but I don't know how to organize the book, all right? And he said to me, Elia, I'm doing my CrossFit things, and when I do my overhead squat, I feel like my shoulders are doing pretty well right there, and they're limiting my squat flexibility. Could it be that kind of a problem? And I said to him, it really depends, but how's your shoulder flexion? And he said to me, what is shoulder flexion? And in that moment I had an idea, because in that moment I realized that people have to understand the movements of the shoulder. And maybe you're doing something like this and you can't go there, you can't do this, but you don't know that this is shoulder flexion, and that there are actually exercises that can improve your shoulder flexion. Or maybe you're doing this, you're going back with your shoulder, and you can't do that, your movement is limited, and you don't know that this is shoulder extension. and that there are exercises to improve this range here. So I decided after a general part to create two specific parts. The shoulder flexion part, which teaches people how to increase this range of motion right here, and shoulder extension, which teaches people how to increase this range right here. And then with split sacking, I used to say, splits are flexibility. If you master the splits, you'll master your lower body flexibility. And there's a position for your upper body, which is like the splits, which is the bridge. So I started to say, if you master the bridge, you'll master your upper body flexibility. So the bridge, the position where you are like in a bridge, with your shoulders in flexion. So now that there's a shoulder flexion, and you're creating an arch with your entire body. That's the bridge. And I created a specific session to learn the bridge, but this is a playbook, and it's not a book to learn the bridge. Of course, you can use the book to learn the bridge, but it's a book about shoulders flexibility. So if you need to improve your shoulders flexibility for whatever kind of discipline, maybe CrossFit, calisthenics, gymnastics, I don't know, you're doing baseball, volleyball, you're using your upper body. Rock climbing, I got a lot of rock climbing students, so you're using your upper body, and you want to learn something with your upper body, but you don't have the flexibility in your upper body to do that. The book, shoulders range, is for you. So that's my kind of thinking about that. That's my kind of approach about this book. It's kind of different from split sacking, because split sacking starts from the splits and teaches you the lower body flexibility. Shoulders range starts from the shoulder. It teaches you all the different stretches for the shoulder to create strong, healthy, flexible shoulders. And it teaches you also the bridge. It's kind of the reverse, all right? But I'm sure that shoulders range is going to be a book which people really love, because it's really practical. It's really a playbook. It's short in the explanations. You got to do this, and this, and it's done. You know the exercise, you got the illustrations, and you can move on from there. You can learn plenty of exercises, but it's not like a book, like an encyclopedia with 1,000 exercises, because nobody cares about 1,000 exercises, because nobody needs 1,000 exercises. You need the best exercises, and the best exercises, you can find them in shoulders range. You can find them also in split sacking, the same concept. You don't need 1,000 exercises. You need the best exercises for that specific goal, and that's the kind of thinking behind my books. All right, and that's shoulders range.